Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty amazing. It's the comeback of Olive Ridley turtles in Odisha.
Yeah, it really is remarkable.
And we'll be digging into this awesome article from the Indian Express called Odisha's Olive Ridley Turtle Nesting Surge, an Endangered Species Return.
Sounds fascinating.
Oh, it is. Get
Yeah.
this. Almost 700,000 Olive Ridley turtles nested at the Rushikulya rookery just this year. A
Wow.
record number, especially because there was no mass nesting at all back in 2024.
Yeah, that's a pretty dramatic shift. Definitely grabs your attention.
For sure. And, for all you UPSC aspirants out there, this is gold for both prelims and mains prep.
Absolutely. Ecology, conservation, even a bit of geography all rolled into one. The UPSC loves this stuff.
Exactly. All right, so let's start with the basics. We all know Olive Ridley's, right? The smallest sea turtle species.
Right, and surprisingly the most abundant too.
But here's the thing. They're endangered.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think, even with huge numbers, they're still vulnerable.
It really highlights how human actions can impact even the most populous species.
Exactly. And this is where the UPSC connection comes in. Think about those common exam topics. Egg collection, killing adult females, accidental fishing net captures, all major threats to these turtles.
And it gets even more mind-blowing. These turtles have this insane mass nesting behavior. Arribada, it's called.
Arribada, meaning arrival in Spanish. Very fitting.
Seriously. Imagine hundreds of thousands of females all coming ashore at once to lay their eggs.
Perfectly synchronized. It's a sight to behold.
It really is. And it's unique to just two species,
Yeah.
Olive Ridley's and Kemp's Ridley turtles.
Yep. Understanding these kinds of unique adaptations is a must for the UPSC syllabus.
So the question is, why Odisha? What makes it the perfect nesting ground?
Well, the article talks about ideal conditions, favorable weather, warm sandy beaches, and a relatively undisturbed coastal ecosystem.
Right. They need all the right ingredients.
Exactly. And the article digs deeper, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Specifics like the optimal beach gradient, the sand composition, even wind speeds and wave patterns.
Wow. So even those details matter.
They really do. And this is where your UPSC prep comes in. This article is a perfect example of how geography directly impacts a species' survival. Those connections are key for the exam.
Makes sense.
Right. It's
Yeah.
all about understanding those links. All right. Ready to dive into why this year was so record-breaking?
Oh, absolutely. Let's get into it. So we have this record-breaking nesting in 2025 and absolutely nothing in 2024. What gives?
Right. It's wild. Well, the article points to a couple things. First, there wasn't much rain in February this year,
Okay.
so less beach erosion, which meant more space for the turtles to nest.
Ah, that makes sense.
And the beach gradient was apparently just right this year, too. It seems like the Goldilocks zone for turtles.
Huh. I like that.
Right. Perfect conditions. And there's this expert, Basudev Tripathi from the Zoological Survey of India.
Right.
He thinks the timing of the nesting mid-February was also key. Well, less chance of those eggs getting wiped out by heat or erosion later in the year.
Smart. So it's like a perfect storm of good luck for the turtles this year.
Exactly. And for you UPSC folks, this is prime example of how environmental factors can make or break a species. That kind of analysis will score you points.
Oh, definitely. It's all about connecting the dots.
Right. Okay, so we know why 2025 was so good, but what about 2024? Why no mass nesting then?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, the article doesn't really say why there was no Arribada in 2024.
Interesting. So we still have a bit of a mystery on our hands.
It does highlight how much we still don't know about the natural world, though, right?
Definitely. I mean, we've learned so much, but there's always more to discover.
Exactly. Which is a good reminder for you UPSC aspirants out there that continuous research is essential, especially when it comes to conservation.
Totally. This stuff is always evolving.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of the UPSC, let's say you get a question about Olive Ridley turtles on the mains exam.
All right, let's play that out.
What kind of things could we pull from this deep dive?
Well, you could talk about their unique nesting behavior, the threats they face, those geographical factors we were talking about that make Odisha so special.
Oh, and the differences between 2024 and 2025.
Right. Show the examiner you understand that things can change drastically year to year.
And we can't forget those expert opinions. Like what Basudev Tripathi said about the nesting timing.
Bingo. That adds weight to your answer. Shows you've done your research.
Makes you look like a pro.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. What if the question is about international cooperation in protecting endangered species?
Ooh, that's a good one. Remember, these turtles migrate. They don't just stay in one place.
Right. So it's not just India's responsibility.
Exactly. Protecting them requires a global effort.
Sharing research, coordinating strategies, tackling things like illegal fishing together.
All of that. And that's where international agreements like CITES come in.
Ah, yes, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species.
That's the one. Knowing about CITES and how India participates is important for both prelims and mains.
For sure. You could talk about how India's conservation work on Olive Ridley's contributes to those international goals.
Exactly. It shows you understand the big picture, how national actions connect to global issues.
All right, so we've talked a lot about the challenges, but let's not forget the positives here.
Yeah.
This record-breaking nesting is pretty hopeful, right?
Absolutely. It's a sign that conservation efforts can really make a difference.
Especially when you have those perfect environmental conditions on your side.
It's true, but we can't get complacent. This success story doesn't mean the work is done.
For sure. Continued vigilance is key.
Exactly. The future of these turtles depends on our continued commitment.
It's a good reminder that we can turn things around.
It really is, but it takes effort, you know? We can't just sit back and relax now.
Absolutely not. So much can change year to year.
Exactly. Okay, so for our UPSC friends listening in, what's the big takeaway from all of this?
Well, I think it shows how important it is to stay updated on current events.
Especially events that have ecological significance.
Right. But it's not just about remembering headlines. It's about connecting those events to the bigger picture.
To those core UPSC themes like climate change, biodiversity, sustainable development, that sort of thing.
It's like we always say, connect the dots.
Exactly. Don't just memorize facts. Understand the why behind the what.
Because that's how you really learn.
And that kind of deep understanding, that's what the UPSC is looking for.
And what'll make you a better civil servant in the long run.
Absolutely. Okay, before we wrap up, let's leave everyone with a little food for thought.
All right, I like it. Hit us with it.
Imagine you're a policymaker, right? And you're responsible for making sure Olive Ridley turtles survive.
High stakes.
What would be your top priorities? Where would you focus your efforts?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really makes you think.
Right. Would you stick with the current conservation strategies? Or would you try something totally new?
Like what?
Maybe community-based conservation programs, getting local communities more involved.
That's a great idea.
C. This is the kind of critical thinking the UPSC loves. Going beyond just the facts and applying that knowledge to real-world problems.
Thinking like a leader.
Exactly. So we encourage everyone listening, do your own research. Explore different viewpoints.
Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
That's what real learning and leadership is all about.
Love it. And hey, if you have any questions about Olive Ridley's or anything else UPSC related,
drop a comment below. We love hearing from you guys.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this.
Sharing the episode with your fellow UPSC friends would be awesome too.
Absolutely. Okay, and huge thanks to the Indian Express for their fantastic article, Odisha's Olive Ridley Turtle Nesting Surge, an endangered species return.
It was a great starting point for our discussion today.
For sure. All right, everyone, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring.
And keep striving for excellence.